Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. I've written another one of these things for you, and we have a guest in the studio tonight, Mark Prosser. We'll see if that gives me energy. Are you ready? Republicans won big time on November 4th, 2014, but there's a lot more to their win than meets the eye. In fact, that lot more is located just behind your eyes and mine. It's called the striatum. The striatum is a hot center for, you've heard of this, dopamine. It's one of the key pleasure centers, the striatum of the brain. Now, how does dopamine work its way into your voting and mine? Not to mention, how does serotonin, grapes, and cucumbers get into this story? Okay, try this for a speculative line of reasoning. See what you think of it. First, let's look at some of the rather surprising statistics from the election. According to Joel Kotkin, a blogger on demographics for Forbes, the magazine that bills itself as the capitalist tool, the voters who, in Kotkin's words, quote, deserted the Democrats for the GOP, quote, the middle and working classes, well, were the very people on whose behalf Democrats try to speak. The middle and working classes, says Kotkin. But those who abandoned the Democratic Party and went Republican were not just any middle class and working class types. They were almost all one color. They were white. What does this have to do with dopamine and the brain? In 2010, Sarah Brosnan at Georgia State University's Language Center in Atlanta did an experiment that proved that even Capuchin monkeys are class conscious. You've almost certainly heard about her experiment. Brosnan brought 2 Capuchin monkeys into a room. The monkeys had been schooled in buying things, economic behavior. They knew that if they turned in a granite token, they'd get food. If Brosnan took the tokens from both monkeys and handed each of them a cucumber, they were happy. After all, it was solid food. If Brosnan gave each of them a grape, they were even happier. After all, a grape is dessert. But all hell broke loose if Brosnan gave the monkeys unequal pay for their tokens. The monkey poop hit the fan if she gave one Capuchin a cucumber and the other a grape. One of the most basic rules underlying economics and many of the social sciences is called the rational choice model. Rational choice says that we do things to maximize our payoff. From a rational choice point of view, both the monkey with the grape and the monkey with the cucumber should have been happy. Bear with me, I hate paper. The monkey with the grape had just gotten a payoff of 500 calories, not bad. But the monkey with the cucumber had done well too. He'd gone from 0 calories to 200, an infinite increase. Try dividing 200 by 0, and that's a big boost. But that is not how the monkeys felt about it. The monkey with the ucky cucumber took one look at the grape in the hand of the other monkey and either refused to hand over his granite token or threw his cucumber across the room with fury. From a rational choice point of view, throwing away your gain of 200 calories cannot possibly exist. But theories can be wrong, and rational choice is one of the wrongest theories of them all. Apparently, the monkey with the cucumber was weighing something other than the calories in his piece of vegetable. He was weighing his status. The monkey with the grape was boosted by his piece of fruit into a temporary upper class. And the monkey with the cucumber was lowered to the bottom. Being shoved to the lowest rung of a social ladder was something the cucumber-holding monkey was not going to tolerate. Keep those angry monkeys in mind while we switch to another piece of research that may help understand the Republican landslide. This one's from August of 2004, when 5 researchers from Zurich, Switzerland, published a paper on another emotional reaction that defies the rules of the rational choice model. The researchers designed an experiment that went something like this. You and I are ushered into adjacent rooms in a lab. We never see each other. We are each given $10, but we can slip money back and forth between us. You go first. If you decide to give me all of your $10, the experimenters reward you. They quadruple that amount, which means you now have my $10 plus your quadrupled cash, which gives you $50. Wait, have we done this right? Who's who? You and me. I've got them all mixed up. At any rate, the point is, no, it's me. Okay, bear with me here. If you decide to give me all of your $10, the experimenters quadruple that amount, which means I now have my $10 plus your quadrupled cash, which gives me $50. Okay, we got this straight now. I can choose whether to give you half of your earnings or whether to pocket the whole damn thing for myself. However, if I walk away with all the money, the $50, you can punish me. You can make sure the researcher sees $20 of my ill-gotten gains, but punishing me will cost you. You'll have to pay $10 for the privilege. Would you be willing to do it? Well, if we can only turn the page, guess what? The folks who felt cheated in this experiment find that paying the price is worth it. Why? The researchers used functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, to see the oxygen flow in the brains of the folks deciding whether to pay the price and get revenge. What did the brain imaging show? That blood flow went way up in the dorsal striatum. And what, pray tell, is the dorsal striatum? It's one of the brain's key pleasure centers. It's the part that lights up when you use cocaine or nicotine. It's one of the parts that rats will press a button over and over again just to have stimulated. In fact, rats choose striatum stimulation over food and rest. Striatum stimulating themselves to the point of death. It's that good. The researchers quote an old adage, revenge is sweet. And apparently that sweetness comes from dopamine in the striatum. So you get a dopamine thrill from putting someone you feel has cheated you, like me, in his place. One more bit of research, then we'll get to the election. Researchers like Robert Sapolsky and Michael McGuire have discovered that when you feel socially higher than others, you get a shot of serotonin in your brain. Serotonin is another reward hormone. It does such wonderful things for your moods that antidepressants you've heard of many times, SSRIs, serotonin reuptake inhibitors, are designed to goose serotonin and shift you from misery to happiness. McGuire has discovered that the serotonin stays high as long as you're getting signals that you are still on the top. But when those signals disappear, the serotonin boost stops. The odds are good that all of these experiments have to do with status. They're all related to who is on top of a social ladder and who is not. Even the subject who's been cheated needs to keep from being put down by the person who's doing him evil and to put that person back in his place. He needs to put that person down. He needs to shove that person down a little bit on the social ladder, the ladder of status. And the emotions of the social ladder have been driving American politics for at least 140 years. According to historian Heather Cox Richardson, ever since 1970, conservatives have been tossing around the terms socialist and communist. That's 140 years they've been tossing around those terms. They've been tossing around the terms of class warfare, terms of the social ladder. Says Richardson, conservatives have been claiming that their opponents are socialists and communists ever since the end of the Civil War. Not easy to believe. How can you tell that non-conservatives, the folks we call liberals these days, are communists, socialists, and traitors? It's easy. They want to tax what Richardson calls, quote, hard-working white people. Why? According to Richardson, who paraphrases the language of the right in 1870, to seize the whites' money and redistribute it to lazy black men. That's right, the folks who were the liberals of the day, according to the folks in 1870, wanted to seize white people's money and redistribute it to lazy black men. Hardworking white people's money. So whether the year is 1870 or 2014, Richardson implies, votes for conservatives are votes to keep those, quote, lazy African Americans, that's quoting Richardson, in their place. What's more, votes for conservatives are votes to punish another group of idle bums looking for a handout. Another group that conservatives loathed way back in 1870. That other group is immigrants. Yes, the anti-immigrant hot button is over 140 years old. Where do dopamine, serotonin, cucumbers, grapes, and punishment come in? With a vote for a conservative candidate, you can punish those greedy loafers, those lazy blacks and parasitic immigrants for their laziness. You can lash out at them for their social cheating. You can keep the blacks, the immigrants, and the folks that Ronald Reagan used to like to call welfare queens in their place. And what is that place? Where do these no-goodniks really belong? On a rung on the social ladder that's located below you. Well below you. After all, handing blacks and immigrants tax money and not getting anything back is precisely like the experiment in which the dorsal striatum lit up for those researchers in Zurich, Switzerland. Voting conservative, voting Republican, is like tossing away your cucumber. More important, it's a way to feel that you are on top and someone else is not. It's a way to identify with the super rich and separate yourself from the rabble and the riffraff. After all, what happens if the blacks and immigrants should move up? You would move down. So why did the working and middle class vote overwhelmingly Republican? Why did the working and middle class voters vote overwhelmingly Republican on November 4th, 2014? Let's rephrase that. Why did the white working and middle class voters vote overwhelmingly Republican? For the sheer pleasure of it. To get a boost of serotonin, to get a dose of dopamine in the striatum, to feel that they are high on the social ladder, to achieve that height by keeping others well below them, to get the feeling that they are morally superior to cheaters, to get revenge. How? By pushing immigrants down a peg or two, and by doing something the singer-songwriter Randy Newman sings of, using really brutal language in his song Rednecks, a brilliant song about old-fashioned Southern racism. We vote conservative in some cases to get a serotonin, dopamine, and grape boost by, quoting Randy Newman, keeping the niggers down. This is Howard the Humongous speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make. Or, want to know why? Ask how. And now for that sleazy, sneaky, infinitely devious, impossible to put your finger on off button.